You'll know exactly.
Don, you ready?
I'm sure you're going to put me to work in this. Hey, Gordon Barnes, I don't know if you've officially met, so good to see you. How you doing? Good. I'm joining now the Chamber Board. Oh, yeah. Amongst other things.
Some other things.
Some other things you have to worry about. I serve as the secretary. Oh, okay. I see 10 and 15 people. Where I live. Oh! Yeah, we need one. Yeah, 2 blocks away. 6 years. We worked at family times.
She's in the park. Way out of the
She's the one that brings the vagrants in the park. Is this the last one? I would be. So we got police Chase the old lady? Oh, that's good. I have to go to the
Good evening. The San Dimas City Council meeting will come to order. Please rise. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Ebner, Councilmember Nakano,
Present.
Councilmember Vienna,
Present.
Councilmember Weber,
All right, just so you know. Sure.
Councilmember Weber is in attendance. Mayor Badar.
Here.
The record will reflect that 4 council members are in attendance.
Is this one any better? Yeah, this one's.
All right, I just want to report that Councilmember Ebner is going to be remotely calling in. We seem to have some type of technical disability right now, so he will be calling in. He's at the Captain's Inn at Moss Landing, 8122 Moss Landing Road, Moss Landing, California, 95039. He's on the boat deck. And then, as John knows, that he needs to publicly make that, like on the boat deck, he has to put a sign out there and says, attending the San Dimas City Council meeting. But he seems to have problems right now, but as soon as he steps in, he'll be on there, and we will acknowledge the fact that he's here. Okay, at the end of this meeting, we will be closing the meeting in honor of Jim McCants, a longtime community member. Jim has served on numerous commissions and acted as a community volunteer for the past 30 years. We'll have some further talks when the council goes through their final comments. But that's what we will be remembering Jim McCants as one heck of a volunteer for the city. We have some presentations, Golden State Water. This is a very exciting report, so.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. We're going to talk about an upcoming Metropolitan Water District shutdown that's going to impact the city of San Dimas. So I think that we should have a slide or a presentation. We'll bring that up. It should be the PDF one, just the PDF.
Well, while you guys are trying to figure that out, I neglected to say that City Manager Chris Constantine is also on Zoom, and he's actually joining us from Greece. So he's there on a family vacation, but I will tell you, if you've seen the emails and the text messages and stuff, you would never know that he was on vacation. See?
Is he on the boat deck as well?
Okay, so what we have is Metropolitan Water District. They provide water to Southern California. They're the wholesaler. Oh, thank you. to Southern California. And what they bring in the water basically through a number of water treatment plants. The closest one to us is the Weymouth Treatment Plant, which is located in Laverne, basically at the end of Gladstone. That water basically delivers water to basically everything to the west of Laverne, including parts of Laverne. So apparently right now they have an issue with the feeder that's going into their water treatment plant. They need to make that repair. So in order to make that repair, what they're asking for is for the cities and the entities that are in yellow. So yellow is the area. They're asking for them to not water basically from September 2nd to September 20th. So it's a 15-day shutdown, and the ask is to not to water in terms of outside watering, that type of irrigation activity, to conserve water while they do this actual shutdown. So again, this is the map that they have. Again, what's in yellow is what's going to be affected in terms of the shutdown, and the ask is for from September 6th through September 20th, no outside irrigation in terms of water usage associated with that. And then this is actually their information. We've been handing this out. They will have a press conference next August 30th, and they're going to talk about that. And the reason why they're taking the lead is that because they're impacting so many cities. There's the city of Burbank, Pasadena, Glendale. So since they're impacting so many cities, Metropolitan is taking the lead in terms of communicating to the citizens regarding the impacts of the shutdown. Let me see if I can. So this is part of their flyer, and we've had this. I think we've sent this to staff, and there's some tips in terms of what to do before the shutdown, in terms of, again, when it comes to irrigation, and again, there's the request in terms of during the shutdown, which is no outside irrigation in terms of water use associated with that. And again, it's more of an ask in terms of what we want, what they would like for us to do, because it helps us conserve water during that time period. One thing I will say about Metropolitan, they're very good in terms of their schedule. So they will start on the 6th, and they typically beat their schedule. But for right now, the ask is from September 6th through September 20th. And again, on the previous slide, is the areas in yellow. So again, for San Dimas, from September 6th through September 20th, no watering for that 15-day period. Any questions from the council? Yes, sir.
So 2 weeks is a long time to shut down for repairs, and I wondered if you could talk a little bit about what repairs they're doing and why it's taking 2 weeks.
Yeah, so I didn't bring those slides. But a good question. I should have brought those. So basically, there's Upper District gets water from the Colorado River, or basically the State Water Project. This water is coming from the Colorado River, and there's two feeders. One's called the upper feeder, and one's called the middle feeder. One's upper and lower. So the upper feeder, it's crossing a bridge over in Chino, and I believe I want to say that it's a large diameter pipe. I think it's 48 in terms of the diameter of the pipe, and there's this sleeve that's in that in terms of the bridge crossing, because with the bridge there's some flexibility that you need because the bridge moves, and so you don't want it to be rigid because you don't want the pipe to break. So this coupling has a leak. And because of the size of the coupling and the size of the pipeline, in order for them to make that repair, they have to actually go out there and actually replace that coupling. So they machined the actual coupling. So that's actually in Laverne, and they're going to take it out there. Now they have a 40-inch line or 48-inch roughly pipeline, and they have to drain that. So that's part of the issue, is that you have to get all the water out associated with that to make the repair. It is a bridge repair, so they're going to have to do things to secure, to make sure that as they do that repair, they're not, from a safety standpoint, it's in a way that doesn't actually damage or impact the bridge, but also preserve the integrity of the pipeline that's going across. So it's that timeline associated with it. And then with all pipelines, once you put it in, there'll be a pressure test. So they'll pressure test it to make sure that it can hold the pressure, and that typically is like a 24 to 48 hour pressure test that they'll do, and then they'll put it in service. So they have to refill the line coming back. So the details of that shutdown in terms of the time that it takes to put the actual coupling in, it may be 3 or 4 days, or it may even be 2 days. But again, the preparation, getting everything set up in terms of the size of the water line and how much water is moving through that, it kind of dictates that 15-day schedule. And as I said, typically they've been really good in terms of actually beating their schedule. And so again, I'm hoping that they can beat it, but it is a pretty major repair in terms of the size. But thank you for the question.
Any further questions? Mr. Lewis, I actually have 3 questions.
Yes, sir.
And these were presented by Betty Jean Lamb, a community member, and she raises these questions. Is the no water request mandatory or voluntary?
It's a request. It is a request of Metropolitan. There are no penalties associated with non-compliance with it, but we only have so much water in terms of our system. So we are going to go out, and if we do see people watering, we're going to ask them not to water during that time period, and try to educate the customers in terms of the impacts of that. But there are no penalties associated if we go out there and we find someone watering that day.
Okay. And then the next question, and I think we all know what the answer to this is, but she wanted to clarify it. Are we allowed to water our front lawns and other plants with the rainwater we have collected and stored during the last 2 weeks?
Well, yeah, water, and that's part of the tips that they're talking about on the second page, and that's a good question. So there are tips in terms of showers. So again, if you take a shower, you can take the bucket, use it on your shrubs. Those type of items you can do in terms of using water inside the home and using it outside the home for some of your, again, trees, shrubs, those type of items. But yes, if you can, and if she has rainwater, I like to get some of that myself. But yes, if she captures the rainwater, she can apply it to her lawn.
All right. And that last question is, are rain collection barrels still available for free? They are at the Arcadia Arboretum or the Claremont Botanic Gardens, and if so, what dates, times, or you probably don't know the answers, but maybe staff could follow up on that.
Yeah, we'll follow up on that. So typically what we do, it's a metropolitan program in terms of the barrel program. And yes, it's either the Arboretum or the California Botanic Gardens in Claremont. So as we get those available, and if Metropolitan decides to give us those barrels, then we'll set up a process where customers can log on and kind of reserve them, and then they go pick them up. Right now, there are no type of barrels associated, or that program is not in effect. But once we do get that program, we'll share that with staff.
Mr. Lewis, thank you very much. Anybody else have any further questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Brad, have we put this out on the city's webpage? And I would think both front and back should be posted there.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It is posted on the city's website. It's currently under the agenda page, but Leslie. So it's currently under presentations for city's for the city's agendas, but if it's not on the website, the homepage website, we'll get it up tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Mayor, for the record, Councilmember Ebner has joined the meeting now.
It looks a little casual up there with that hat on.
Yes?
Yeah.
Can you hear me by the way?
Yeah, we hear you great. How's the boat deck?
We're in Moss Landing here in Monterey.
Okay, how are you doing on the boat deck?
We're doing great. The deck, how it is. I don't know, I call it those decks. Yeah, it's really nice.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, John. Thanks for joining us. Oral communications. Members of the audience are invited to address the City Council on any item on this agenda or not on this agenda. Public comment will not be taken during each individual item except for public hearings. Comments on public hearing items will be heard when that item is scheduled for discussion. Under the provisions of the Brown Act, the legislative body is prohibited from engaging in discussion on any item not appearing on the posted agenda. However, your concerns may be referred to a staff or set for discussion at a later date. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Madam City Clerk, do we have any speaking cards?
The first speaker is Margie Green from the Historical Society.
Good evening, everyone. For everybody that's not on vacation or wants a vacation, I have a great idea for you. We've got Labor Day coming up, and that's the weekend of September 3rd and 4th. And the San Dimas Historical Society is doing our free walking tour. So if you have company coming to town or you don't want to fight the crowd some other place, please come on over to the Walker House. The Walker House is at 121 North San Dimas Avenue, and the Historical Society gives a walking tour that takes about an hour and 15 minutes of the downtown area, explaining some of the buildings and everything. Also, the same time, the tour, you start and end at the Walker House, and then you can go upstairs and see inside the Walker House. You can stand outside and admire the paint job that's going on. We'll meet on the back patio, not the front patio, but the back patio is where we're meeting for the walking tour, and that starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. The museum and also the gift shop will be open that day from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. So we'd really like you to spend your Labor Day weekend with us and come on that walking tour. As I say, it's just great for the whole family, and especially if you have guests from out of town that are curious about the Walker House. Let us know you're coming, and you can call Dave Harbin or the Historical Society office. Dave's number is area code 915-990-3395, or the Historical Society 909-592-1190. Just let us know that you're interested in coming. That way we wait for you. But it should be a great weekend and a good way to spend it and not fight the crowds anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Margie.
The next speaker is Pete Sluis.
City Council, Mayor, John in Moss Landing, and Chris in Greece. That's amazing. When people talk about those living near railroad tracks, it is often heard, people move there, they chose this. I want to make our history clear. When I chose to move into my residence, I moved next to a spur line with a 10-mile-per-hour speed limit. It was not a main line. It was nearly abandoned and serviced one train a week that crawled by, consisting of a few rail cars, initially on Thursday afternoons. This existed for many years before I moved in and for many years afterwards. This is still the only freight passing by my house, notwithstanding Metrolink's referral to 4 daily freight trains, though now it comes mostly at night. Metro bought the rights to this spur line and others to cobble together a new connected rail corridor. They proposed a commuter rail line called Metrolink, which most residents supported. We trusted them and didn't get involved. They touted their low-noise rail and didn't do an environmental study, as it was portrayed as not a significant change from existing conditions. In other words, they lied. We weren't paying attention to them, didn't understand the process, and have regretted this ever since. Metrolink replaced the entire existing line with new track to support frequent 80 miles per hour, 600-ton trains, which rattled houses and blasted residents awake. They hadn't made the necessary noise and safety mitigations. The FRA definition of a severe noise impact is, quote, where a significant percentage of people would be highly annoyed by the project's noise, unquote. The community reaction to the start of Metrolink service definitely met that definition of severe impact, and no further testing of this would ever be necessary to determine that. It was proven. This was just a few trains, and starting around 6 a.m., which quickly became more trains and earlier. For years, residents fought for appropriate noise and safety mitigations. Metrolink caustically said there was nothing they could do, and with their government resources, waited out all challenges. After this, the 2005 train horn rule came, with requirements to blow horns before every crossing, with or without existing audible warnings and crossing arms. In 2016, Metrolink introduced BNSF locomotives to our tracks, which again produced a vigorous community reaction until they were removed. This was just the latest action in an unsafe corridor, which is the foundation of Metrolink, and unfortunately, we have the deaths to prove it. Now Metrolink wants to introduce another track with many more trains, both bidirectional and wrong way, into our community while they still haven't fixed the safety issues they introduced, including a potentially catastrophic one. They have the ability to make things right and at least bring us up to light rail standards. At some time, I hope Metrolink is made accountable for their gross negligence and is held liable. By not establishing a safe environment to operate in initially and not fixing it now, they show they should never have come here. I'd like to submit my comments to the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete.
Next speaker is Amber Adams, speaking on events on Bonita Avenue.
Hello, my name's Amber Adams. I've never met you guys, so I'm here. I am the corridor president for the downtown shops. It's come to my attention, a lot of people were really excited about having the events on the Bonita area, and I noticed you guys just opened it back up, so I know it's not going to, I know it's a slight chance, but a lot of residents and clients of mine said it's a lot more inviting when they come down to downtown, because it, you know, it's like, oh, there we go, we should go there. I think maybe after, you know, the streets have been open for a little bit. I was talking to Emmett today, so kind of having the car shows downtown and maybe doing some booths, like, you know, having some vendors down there to kind of make us some money, to make it worth the while, because I know it costs quite a bit to close the streets down. But a lot of residents, I'm born and raised in San Dimas, just memories of being a kid having, you know, the street fairs and everything on the Bonita Street. With everything going on, I think that we could at least give that a shot. So, thought I'd get up here and tell you guys that. Thank you.
Thank you,
have any
Amber.
questions?
No, we can't question you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker up is Linda, speaking on windows and graffiti.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening. First of all, I want to thank the board, because the last time I came, I made mention about the apartments on Monte Vista, the senior apartments, and I'm very pleased, and I want to thank you because they did put the new washers and dryers, which is really cool because they have, you could load it with an app instead of having to get coin. But that was really great. And also, there was concern about the upkeep of the building inside the walls with all the soot from the paints. It appears that they are cleaning them up. And also, you guys really did a great job on polishing that floor. It was bad. So I want to just thank you for being so effective on taking care of that matter. The other thing here is, I got my little notes here. The windows. The windows there at the apartment, for 4 years, they've been slated to be, to get new windows. They're bad, okay? Some of them don't close. They're about that much open. And again, this is 4 years, so in May, Pella went out there and they did their survey, and at that time, they said that they were going to only replace the ones that needed, which kind of concerned me because it would be one good, one good, one bad, and that would definitely drive me mad. And they're the same age, so I don't know why it's not taken into consideration to put the whole sets. About the windows, okay. Like I said, this is 4 years, and we're heading towards the winter, and it's cold, and the loss of energy. You know, it's just like it's quite a bit of money to be going out the window, no pun intended. So I'd like to know where we stand on that on the window issue. See when they're slated to be replaced. Also, I have a big concern. I'm very happy with the metro and everything that's taken place there. It's progression, and this is how it is. And I'm in for betterment of the community and transportation. However, my concern is, I better hurry up. My concern is that as they've built it to Azusa, the walls, there's graffiti, okay, and I see that coming San Dimas and on forward. So I was wondering if the board has a plan, or what would be the projection to make sure that we don't have that problem. I'll take an answer.
Can't answer you.
Oh.
I'm sorry, but you know, we can have a staff member contact you if you would like. Would somebody, one of the members, please get her information, and they will respond to you?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Sorry, but the law doesn't allow us.
Yeah, that's okay. And again, thanks for everything you've been doing.
Thank you.
Those are all the speaker cards that have been turned in, Mayor.
Okay. Is there anyone else in the audience who'd like to speak to the council? Seeing no one, we'll move forward. Consent calendar. All items on the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be enacted with one motion unless a member of the city council requests separate discussion.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor.
Point of order, Mayor, I think we have to do a roll call vote.
Oh. Yes.
Because we have a remote council member, we have to do a roll call vote.
Got it. All right, Madam Secretary, never mind, Madam City Clerk.
I actually did have a question.
Okay, then we'll actually wait for you.
Okay. So I noticed there were several claims with the city that are up for. I noticed there are several claims where the recommendation is to reject, and I wondered if we could get some additional detail as to why we're making those recommendations. When I read through the submitted claims, some of them at least seemed pretty reasonable. A tree fell on a person's car, for example, and I just wondered if there could be some, if we could understand a little bit more about why the claim was rejected.
Brad, could you explain to her our third-party agreement with the JPIA?
Yes, Councilman Nakano, all of our claims go through, and this is part of our agreement with California JPA, they go through a third-party adjuster, claims adjuster, Carl Warren and company, and they evaluate the claims and give the recommendation to the city on how we should proceed with these claims. So the recommendations they're sending back are rejection notices. The ones that have to do with the trees, a lot of the backup information that gets submitted is the maintenance schedule. If it's a city tree, has it been maintained? Is it properly on an annual basis? The tree trimming grid, and if it's been properly maintained and it's an act of nature for that tree to fall on a car, a lot of times they don't approve those type of claims. They recommend a rejection from our third-party vendor, and as a JPA member, that's who handles all of our claims. So I don't know if that answers your question completely.
Is there any recourse for, some of these claims are for thousands of dollars in damages to their property? So is there any recourse for them, or is the rejection then final?
They could file a lawsuit against the city.
Oh, that's the next step, though.
Yes.
I see. I wondered if we could move toward inviting some of these claimants to provide additional detail. Again, like the city tree one especially caught my eye. And looking at the photos and damages, I just feel uncomfortable with shutting that down without any opportunity to provide more detail and sending a standard form letter, considering that one person's car was incurred something like $3,000 worth of damage.
Okay,
Is
so
that
I'm just trying to figure
possibility?
out exactly. The process is they would submit a claim, we would get the information, submit it to our claims adjuster. So you would like them to come to the council meeting and submit more information, or provide more information, and we would ask them for more information when they submit the claim to the city?
I guess where I'm coming from is if I was one of these claimants that had submitted a claim to the city, incurred thousands of dollars, and I believe it was the city's fault. In this case, one of them was like a tree falling on her car. And then I got a form letter saying it's rejected because the city had maintained its trees or whatever it is. And then the next step is I can file a lawsuit. It just seems like maybe there's an opportunity to get more information considering the nature of the claim. Is there an opportunity to, before a decision is made, to invite them to submit more information or have a discussion with them?
Usually the claims adjusters will reach out to the claimant if they feel they need more information or more background. But usually the claimant submits a narrative of what happened along with receipts to back up. They'll give, usually in their narrative, they will explain the conditions for the day, whether it was raining, windy, any weather conditions that might have been occurred that day. Usually our claimants give some pretty detailed backup information. It may not make it into the agenda packet, but they submit a good bit of detailed information with their claim. And then again, if there's something that's additionally needed, the claims adjuster will reach out to staff for that additional information or to the claimant to get more information for them to make their determination.
Okay.
I would also add just, it's not a common thing that happens, but it is technically possible that if the council thought that one of these claims should not be rejected and you wanted to discuss it more, the rejection is only a recommendation from JPIA, so the council does not have to follow that recommendation. If you wanted to pull one of these and bring it back at a future meeting to discuss in a closed session, we could do that too.
That's what I would move to do. Some of them I felt like there was some detail there, and I think residents would appreciate the ability to weigh in, considering the loss of the property in some cases was substantial.
Okay, so if there's any particular one that you wanted to bring back for a closed session at the next meeting, we can do that. We would need to know which ones.
Can we do all three? The
if that-
Alvarado, the Ortega, and the Benedict?
If that is the council's pleasure, that can be a motion to do that. And then would you also want us to ask the claimants for any additional information they might want the council to consider in the closed session? Because the claimants won't be able to attend the closed session, but they could submit more information.
Yeah, they could submit more than the claim, and it was just a sentence in some cases, right, where there wasn't a lot of color. I think one person had said that a pothole caused the damage, and it would be interesting to know why this person believed that and why they believe the city is at fault.
My question to staff would be, we have a third party and we have an insurance agency that handles our claims, okay? Will we start being responsible for these deals without further, for these type of incidents, without being able to go through the JPIA, because they have a process? Now, we're circumcising that system, and I would think that JPIA would have some input to that. I kind of, I understand what Councilman Nakano was talking about, but it'd be one of these things I think we need to talk in a closed session about, are we starting to stray away from the policy that's been in place for 60 years and with JPIA? Yeah, John.
So I would support Eric for this reason. You're right, we've had a policy for a long time. There are reasons for doing it. You said about third party, the JPIA that actually ends up adjudicating, saying, or figuring out should they be paid or not, they work with claims. However, it'd be good probably, like a lot of things haven't been discussed in a long time, and I would go all three this time, or even one of them, and if we were in a closed session, then we could really get down to the nuts and bolts and talk about it, and I think we would end up at the same place we are now, where we typically reject them, and really it's a benefit to the claimant, because then we go on to the next step, where lawyers know about, more than the city council does about this kind of thing, and then talk about what the claim should be paid. But I wouldn't mind having a closed session discussion just to herald that, and it probably would be beneficial. But that's just my thought. I'll go with whatever the council wants to do.
And if I could add two more things as well. So the reason why I think it's important is all of us have had some dispute, I'm sure, at some point with an insurance company. It can sometimes be a very frustrating process. And as elected officials, I think that we owe it to residents to at least give it a look over. And the other reason is I was inspired by Councilman Vienna's commitment, especially to being very responsive to residents' needs, really understanding that that is a core part of the job. And so I do feel that taking the time to talk through these, considering that this is people's considerable amount of damage that they incurred and loss of property. I just feel that it may be worth at least having that discussion, even if we end up in the same place.
Well, one, I'll point out there is a motion on the table currently, and I'm conflicted on your request, and I appreciate the compliment. But assignment of liability and responsibility from JPIA and from Carl Warren is not something that they have not done. I mean, in terms of experience. I mean, they not only, Carl Warren doesn't just do the city of San Dimas. I know they do the county of Los Angeles, and they do a lot of others. And the JPIA also does this for many other cities. I'm absolutely supportive of a conversation and discussion as it relates to kind of what Councilman Ebner talked about, maybe revisiting the process. But at this particular point in time, I'm not inclined to amend the motion as it relates to rejecting these specific claims, although I will ask the city attorney, if we have a discussion and it's fruitful, could we call back one of these items if it was to pass tonight, and then change course on it if there's a discussion that lends itself to a process that might provide another opportunity for someone to have it re-examined?
Yes, even after a claim is denied, we can still settle the potential lawsuit, even if it hasn't been filed. So yes.
Right, because it sounds like what you may be proposing is almost either a mediation or an opportunity before litigation or a lawsuit to settle this matter with whoever the claimant is. And I can appreciate that, and I do know there's some unique situations and acts of God, if you will, sometimes can get in the gray area. So I absolutely appreciate where you're coming from, and I get that. So that's where I'm at. I mean, I'm not inclined to withdraw the motion, but if council has a different take, my thought on the process would be we pass the consent calendar as it's been proposed. We schedule a date and time for either a closed session, perhaps, to conduct a review on these, as I think that would still be within the purview, given the potential litigation that could come from each one of these claims. And subsequently, if we take no action, we take no action. If that's fruitful and there's another bite at the apple, then perhaps that's the action that gets reported out of there, and we can contact these folks. That's where my head's at, but I'd be willing to.
I'm fine with that. I think, looking at these types of claims, the idea that when the claim is rejected, that these folks are left with no recourse at all is not quite where these things fall, because you have, if a piece of a fence gets damaged, homeowners insurance would cover that damage, or your car gets damaged, your vehicle insurance would pick up the damage. So a lot of times we just become the first place that the claimants file a claim, because they see that it's a city tree and they think that the city should pick up the tab. Once they get the rejection of the claim, they just get reimbursed through their vehicle insurance. So it's not like these people are being left with a tree stuck in the top of their car, having to drive her out with. So, but I agree with you. Talking about the process is not an issue with me if we wanted to do that. But
and I think we can use these three as the case study. And then if they're fruitful and we get more information, or more information avails itself, then I think in de facto it does what you're hoping to achieve anyways. And hopefully that stuff will materialize, and perhaps staff can reach out to the claimants in the meanwhile and let them know the discussion that's been had today. Mayor or John, either.
John, you have anything else, John?
I didn't hear what Eric said. Eric, are you okay with doing that and having a discussion? In general, claims?
which Eric are we talking about here?
I'm sorry. No, I was wondering if Eric McConnell, I'm sorry, very funny. If Eric McConnell was okay with the motion as it stands, accepting or passing the whole consent calendar, and then having a meeting or session about the claim process in general, or do you want to stick by not acting on these claims at this point until that closed session.
I would stick by my original proposal, but I understand that this is a majority, and if I'm in the minority, then that's okay.
Then what we can do then is want to offer a substitute motion to act on these three separately from the rest of the consent calendar. And you might want to make that motion, or
Okay.
if you want to, make that motion to act on these three claims separately. And then the rest of the consent calendar would be a separate motion. And we could see if that was passed. If it does pass, then we would move back to the original motion of approving the entire consent calendar at one time.
Okay, well, let's give it a try. I'm offering a substitute motion to review these three claims in a separate closed session. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, and we need a voice vote?
Mayor Pro Tem Ebner,
Aye.
Councilmember Nakano,
Aye.
Councilmember Vienna,
No.
Councilmember Weber,
No.
Mayor Bedar.
No. Okay, we'll revert back to the original motion.
Mayor, call the question.
All in favor, council vote?
Sorry, I just need to be clear that this is not a motion just to approve the consent calendar. It's a motion to approve the consent calendar and bring a future closed session item to discuss the claims process with these three used as a
That's correct.
exemplar? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
And that motion failed by vote of 2 to 3.
3 to 2.
The substitute motion.
The substitute motion, yes, with Councilmember Weber, Vienna, and Mayor Bedar opposed.
Okay.
And we called the question on the original motion now.
So the original motion to approve the consent calendar as presented. Mayor Pro Tem Ebner?
With the amendments made by Councilmember Vienna to the motion.
Was that an aye?
Aye.
Okay. Councilmember Nakano,
Aye.
Councilmember Weber,
Aye.
Councilmember Vienna,
Aye.
Mayor Bedar.
Aye.
That motion carries by 5-0 vote.
I have one question of the city attorney. For this, when we bring this back in a closed session to discuss these three matters, would it be inappropriate to request a representative of the JPIA to be in attendance of this and explain what the process is at their level for claim rejection?
That would be appropriate. We can do that.
Okay. Anyone consensus, would that be acceptable to everything? John? Nice thought. You've disappeared, John.
That's no problem.
Okay, thank you. You guys got up, come to a meeting that's going to be very short. Or oral communications. Members of the audience, speakers are limited to 3 minutes and may be determined by the chair. Anyone wishing to speak to the council?
Sorry about that. I've got more stuff for you guys.
Oh,
Like what Metro and Metrolink did when they first came to us and established a new main line, they once again have come with deception and omission. They didn't mention the 4 deaths that have occurred here since the community meeting over the outrage with the BNSF deployment, nor the close calls. They didn't mention the potentially catastrophic consequences of them having connected a compressed gas facility to a mainline rail, nor a blind curve. They told us this was a line efficiency project and not a capacity-driven project, while this was labeled an important capacity project at their board. They didn't mention nearly doubling to 70 daily trains, which is the current Metrolink enhanced plan for this line, which would lead to a doubling of all negatives, not a minor point to leave out. They didn't emphasize the safety considerations of multiple rails and bidirectional train traffic in residential communities, nor wrong-way train traffic, if this ever became a double track with express train service. They left off privacy concerns as rail passengers gawked directly into private backyards. They didn't mention that all our deaths occurred not at crossings, but between crossings, and the likely breaches occurred with inadequate chain link fences. They didn't mention their callous position they took when communities erupted when initial mainline service was begun, the very definition of a severe impact, which they are now ignoring. They didn't mention the lack of an initial environmental study and didn't take ownership of the lack of safety and noise mitigations that they established as the foundation of Metrolink. They didn't even honor the commitment to look at the mitigations beyond the bare minimum. Finally, they left out that if the train horn use is silenced, they haven't even taken action which would have eliminated these past incidents, which occurred even with horns, which sound walls would have eliminated, which Metro itself uses on its light rail. With this project as it stands, we are at risk of not receiving or subsequently losing quiet zone status. Then we would be left with a more unsafe environment than we currently exist. More trains, bidirectional, even wrong way, and no noise mitigation and token vibration mitigation, and the likely continued deaths and mayhem. Light rail is making use of 28,000 feet of sound walls between Glendora and Pomona. Metrolink has 0. We need a sealed corridor, which this project should establish, with sound walls in residential areas, augmented with fencing elsewhere, superior to the existing fencing, which is chain link and mesh. These haven't worked. I would urge the council to contact people like our supervisor, Catherine Barger, who sits on both the Metro and Metrolink boards, and see if they can direct Metrolink to do the right thing. Metrolink has a very poor history in our community, built on its unsafe foundation. Don't let them add and cement this failed legacy. Silencing train horns is a nice carrot, but I fear the stick more. I must oppose this project as I currently understand it, and urge City Council to also, absent having it changed. I'd like to submit my comments to the record.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak to the council? Seeing none, we'll move on. City Manager's report.
Yes, Mayor, City Council, a couple items. First, an update on the fire. That 2:30 today, there was a brush fire near Reeder and Renshaw Street. The fire has been 100% contained at approximately 6.5 acres. There was structural damage to just a independent standing shed. There was no other structure damage to any homes in the area. All residents that were voluntarily evacuated have been invited back to their homes, so everybody is back at their homes. And overnight, fire operations will continue for any spot up fires or hot spots will be monitored throughout the night. So if anybody sees any activity, that's what's going on, but it is 100% contained. Second item is I'd like to introduce a new employee. Christian Cerna is in the audience tonight. He's a new administrative analyst in our HR division. Christian comes to us with 5 years of public agency human resources experience. He comes to us from the city of Baldwin Park, where he's served in the roles of human resources generalist, human resources technician, and performed functions as such as recruiting, onboarding, benefits, training, workers' comp, and general liability. He earned his bachelor's degree in business administration from Cal Poly Pomona. And with that, I'd like to welcome Christian. And if you want to come up and introduce yourself, you can at the podium.
Council members, Mayor, I'm just really excited to join the city, and I'm looking forward to many long years here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Next, I'd like to call up our Public Works Director, Sherry Garwick, who's going to give an update on the Metro Lone Hill to White double track project.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. At the last meeting, the mayor requested additional information on the public outreach meeting for the Metro double track project from Lone Hill to White. Again, this is the project that's south of Arrow Highway. It's where the Metrolink train runs. So Metro will be conducting 3 public outreach meetings, August 30th, August 31st, and September 1st. The August 30th meeting is in Laverne. Will be held at the Laverne City Hall from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. we'll put this information on our website. The August 31st meeting is a virtual community meeting. It will be August 31st from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Residents who want to attend will need to pre-register. So there is a website that's provided. It's bit.ly/LoneHill and this will be on our website as well, but you'll enter that into your into the Google search page. It'll bring this up, and you can pre-register for that. And it'll provide you a link to the virtual meeting site. Then the third meeting will be in San Dimas on September 1st from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Stanley Plummer Community Building. So that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
Last item, I'd like to invite up our Parks and Rec Director, Scott Wasserman, to give us an update on the Metropolitan Water District feeder project and any effects it might have or impacts on city property.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. This is a very brief presentation. You heard a presentation at the beginning of the meeting about the impact of the reduction or the elimination of the water from the upper feeder that needs to be repaired September 6th through the 20th. And of course, the city, we feel like we need to set an example in the way that we're going to conserve water during this period. We have already cut back our water usage by approximately 20%. That's through irrigation in the parks, and you will see additional reductions during this period of September 6th through the 20th, and it will likely be noticeable. But I did want to, there we go. So we spoke about that already. Let me just talk about first a couple areas where we will not be reducing the water usage as much. This is the high-risk fire area map. The square up on the top right is the golf course. The square on the left is the Equestrian Center and Horse Thief Canyon Park. Because these areas lie in, or in the case of the golf course, is adjacent to the high-risk area, we will not be reducing the water quite as much. We've already reduced water usage in these areas, but we're not going to shut it off for the duration of the repairs. Similarly, this is the high fire risk areas in the south part of the city, the Villa Verde area. We have 3 parks in this area. We have, Walnut Creek Park, Ladera Serra, and Loma Vista parks. You'll see additional reductions at these parks, and again, it will be noticeable. You'll see things get a little bit brown and dry, a little bit more than they have been. And generally, the areas that are affected, as I mentioned, you'll see additional reductions in the parks, additional reductions around City Hall. We have a lot of turf around City Hall and the Senior Center that we're looking at. Also, the turf around the Martin House and the Walker House. Areas that won't be impacted as much would be the athletic fields and the golf course. Both of these areas currently are exempted from the current water restrictions. And as I mentioned, the golf course lies adjacent to a high fire risk area. Athletic fields, we have significantly reduced the irrigation, but we have to have enough irrigation to keep those playable and to keep them safe for all of our youth sports leagues. So we're going to maintain those athletic fields. And then I mentioned selected landscaped areas. There may be some areas where you'll see reductions, some areas where you'll see less of a reduction. And something else we've been doing, staff for the last 2 to 3 years has been methodically removing the turf on street medians. This effort continues. I think we've hit most of them already in the city. We have a couple left. Other areas where we're looking to reduce turf could potentially be around City Hall and also the Senior Center. And the process for that would be stopping the irrigation, removing the existing turf, replacing it with mulch just on a temporary basis, and then going back and developing, rehabilitating the landscaping to something that uses less water than turf. So you might notice that. We're still studying the area around City Hall. And that concludes my presentation. And I'll answer any questions you might have.
Scott, does that also include Via Verde Park?
Via Verde Park has already been reduced by about 20%, and you will see additional reductions at Via Verde Park.
Any further questions?
I have a question.
Okay, John.
I was reading in the information about the water, stopping watering outdoors because of the repairs to the pipeline. And I was noticing, in there that I was noticing that they implemented watering well right before the cutoff. So we've done a lot to reduce our water usage. And I was just thinking we should, and of course, if you're not watering outdoor hardly at all in that 2 weeks, we're definitely reducing more. But maybe right before that, we should get everything as good watering. So the one thing you mentioned, especially in fire area, but even on the other areas, so that the grass doesn't die. They were saying that, 2 weeks won't kill it, but they were coupling that with the idea of watering the well right before the
Thank you, Councilmember. That is our approach. Yeah, great observation. Thank you.
But where does, I'm sorry, John, where does that play into the fact that we're on this water rationing now 2 days a week, 8 minutes a sprinkler or something like that? Where does that play into that?
Well, I'm going to ask our landscape manager, park maintenance manager, Steve
I
Farmer.
agree with,
He can answer that better than I can.
I agree with John 100%. You need to do this, but on the other hand, I want to know where we stand with Golden State Water.
We have the ability to saturation water the week before this occurs and reduce for the 2 weeks to stay within our water window and our water use. So we'll hit our goals for reduction, still being able to saturate the week before, and with reductions we put in place for the 2 weeks, so the 6th to the 20th, we'll stay on our schedule. We won't go over our limit.
Thank you. Any further, John and Eric, Brian?
I had one question for the city manager. This is part of this report. Did they discover what the cause of the fire was, or is it still under investigation?
It's currently still under investigation.
All right. Any further? City attorney?
No reports.
Members of the city council, council members' reports on meetings attended at the expense of the local agency. Hearing none, city council requests for future items, comments, and updates. John?
Nothing today, thanks.
Well, you're on vacation.
I just can't think of anything related to what we need. But we have all the right to Max tomorrow, actually.
All right, good. Eric Weather?
I saw you going for the microphone. He faked you out on that one. The only thing I want to say is thank you to our LA County Fire and LASD partners for all of the work on the Virginia fire today. That's what they named it, right? Virginia fire? Yeah. I couldn't tell. It was, I don't know if they could have called it like the California fire or something. It's a little confusing. I'm just kidding. But it's super close to my house. So I wasn't home today, but there was people working at the house, and I got quite a few pictures and videos of a Chinook flying over my house, which was pretty cool. I wish I was around to see it. My 7-year-old would go nuts. But it sounds like they really jumped on it quickly, and they squashed it before any damage to homes occurred, which is always a great thing. So thank you very much.
Eric Nakano?
I'll echo what Councilman Weber said. My gratitude to those who responded to the fire and kept it under control. I have no other comments.
Thank you. Ryan? Take a nap.
Huh?
No.
Well, hey, everyone else left me some time. First and foremost, I echo those comments. Thank you, the fire department. Thank you, the sheriff's department. I saw voluntary evacuations were being done up there in that area. Prompt response always is good, and it's convenient that we're close to Brackett for some of those air resources. The fire always is a good reminder regarding emergency preparedness. In the near future, in October, I think it is, will be the Great Shakeout Drill. And as some know, there was a earthquake here, one council meeting, and I took evasive prescriptive action, and I don't know where the rest of council was, but thankfully it wasn't the big one. Needless to say, it's a good time to be familiar with disaster preparedness. In September, on September 23rd, 24th, and 25th, the sheriff's station and the city and the fire department are putting on the Community Emergency Response Team. That's a organization the city has recognized to be able to assist in disaster preparedness. It will teach you a lot of different things. Some of it has to deal with self-preparedness, but it also has to deal with some awareness, terrorism, and other things like this. So I highly encourage some basic first aid as well. So anyone that hasn't had the opportunity to take that training, I highly encourage you to do it. You can visit www.sandimascert.org, or you can contact, or you can email cert@sandimasca.gov. So I highly encourage everybody to participate. There's a huge drill on the last day. It's a really good exercise. I encourage members of council, if you haven't seen it, to come out. You can even volunteer to be a victim in the disaster, which I have done, and I know other members of council have participated in. So with that, I will say in the time we won't see each other until the next council meeting. We'll have Labor Day. I hope everybody has a great Labor Day. It's mindful of your barbecues, especially around little ones. And be smart, drive responsibly, drink responsibly if you're going to do that. And then after that, we will have September 11th. And that's always a humbling reminder of the things that lurk outside of this nation, and a good reminder of the sacrifice so many brave men and women paid on that day. So let's keep them in our thoughts and our prayers as we move forward. And with that, I hope everybody has a good couple weeks and a good night. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I'd just like to take this opportunity. We're going to close tonight's meeting in memory of Jim McCants, a long-term resident of the city of San Dimas, but not only a member of the community, but I mean a fantastic person, and volunteered with all his heart and soul. He left a wife and you know, a family. We most all will recognize Charlie McCants, who is an unbelievable a volunteer and gives very much back to the city. He's a strong young man, and I'm really proud to have known Jim. He was on all, I can't name a commission that he wasn't on at one time or another. He was very supportive of the Festival of Arts, the Historical Society. You know, we should all fashion ourselves after that man, because he really was a strong symbol of hope to the community. We're going to be going into closed session, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. 1A, and B is conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. So we have two actual conferences. And with that being said, you're going to
Mr. Mayor, I'll be recusing myself from both of the closed sessions due to a conflict of interest.
Jeff, are you going to cover that?
Yeah, I did need to make a couple other statements about the closed sessions before we go in. First of all, the city manager will be participating in the closed sessions by Zoom, just as he is here. Councilmember Ebner, due to a real property conflict of interest or potential conflict of interest at this time, will be recusing himself from we have 4 cases here that we're talking about. You see the first item has 2 cases, the second item has 2 cases. Councilmember Ebner will be participating in the first case of the first item, and at this time recusing himself due to a real property conflict of interest from the last 3. As Councilmember Vienna stated, he will be recusing himself due to a real property conflict of interest from all 4 of the closed session cases. And with respect to the second case in the significant exposure to litigation in closed session. I need to make a statement under the Brown Act that the facts and circumstances giving rise to this significant exposure to litigation is a notice of intent letter received to appraise the park and ride lot that is between Monte Vista and San Dimas Avenue south of the Gold Line Railroad tracks. With that, Mayor, those are the statements.
Thank you. Just as the city attorney mentioned, City Manager Chris Constantine, who is in Greece at this time, will be joining those meetings. And we appreciate Chris's involvement. It's actually 10 hours later, so I'm not sure where that stands at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, 6. So he decided that he needed to be a part of this, and we certainly appreciate it. Chris, I'm not sure when you're coming back from vacation, but don't send us any more text messages. He's been really good at keeping in track of the city, and we appreciate that, but we would like you to enjoy your vacation. Right, with that, we're going to close the meeting. We will resume in 10 minutes in the conference room, and that'll give John and staff enough time to get John hooked up on the Zoom. All right, John? Hey, John. Nice talking to you, John.